It's not possible for two people to like each other exactly the same amount, which means that one person must always like the other person more, and the other person must like the other person less. These things change. They generally don't change like this, but the gap can go up and down. One person is generally the adorer, and the other person is the adored. The person up here on the pedestal is the adored. Now, there are pros and cons to both of these positions. It's not like one is better than the other. And in fact, most people, contrary to popular belief, want to be here. They want to be the adorer, because the adorer gets to be with the one they love. And there's no greater victory in popular culture than that. And
are you ready to hear a disruptive truth that once fully understood, that once fully grasped, will change the way that you see relationships and the way you see relationships with women, hopefully for the better? This took me a long time to figure out. I was muscling around in a lot of dating advice and techniques and say this, do that, but I never really understood this overarching frame. And when you do understand this overarching frame, so much of attraction makes sense. So much of a functional relationship makes sense. And you can play with all the little tips and techniques on the surface level, but without this deeper understanding, you're going to probably encounter a lot of dysfunction in your personal relationships, especially with women, just like I had. And this disruptive truth is that I believe human relationships, for the most part, are hierarchical. So what does that mean? Let's break that down, because most people have a very negative association with the word hierarchy. You know, they're like, someone's above me telling me what to do. Like, I don't stand for that. Like, I'm my own person. Like, get the pitchforks. But they don't actually understand, or maybe have never been part of, a functioning hierarchy. And that's very important to understand the difference between a functioning and non-functioning hierarchy. So what are the three positions of hierarchy? I can be higher than you in the hierarchy. Me and you can be on the same level of the hierarchy, or you could be higher than me in the hierarchy. So let's give some very non-controversial examples of hierarchy so you can better understand that. If I take your boss and you, well, who has more power in that relationship? Who has the power to impact the other person's career? Well, your boss tells you what you're going to work on. Your boss tells you, basically decides how much money you're going to make. He decides if you get a promotion. He decides if you get fired or not. Now, does that mean your boss is evil and terrible? Well, he definitely can be, but this is a hierarchical dynamic. Now, let's say you have a child, and you and your child, you are in the position of leadership. Your child is in the position of followership. You decide what is for dinner. You decide what the bedtime is. You are the one who is in a position to administer punishment or not. And the key to a successful hierarchy, a functioning hierarchy, is that it's a win-win dynamic. So going back to the example of you and your boss, it's like, hey, when you're in this dynamic, even though you're in the follower position, when you work for this person, you expand your skill set. You become more competent in your line of work. You expand your leadership capacities. They teach you interpersonal skills that you wouldn't learn by yourself. At the end of the month, they pay you a salary, which hopefully contributes to the well-being of your life. So this is a win hierarchy. It's a win for you. Now, if it's for a win for them also, you produce good work. You're a hardworking person for the company. You make the company money. You bring in great clients. You execute well on projects. So it becomes a win-win upward spiral. Your boss is winning and you're winning. Awesome. If in the example with your child, it's like, okay, you're a good parent. You teach your child discipline. Maybe they not too happy in the moment, but over the longer term, it's like, wow, you've raised a real good member, someone who can think for themselves, but someone who's also respectful. They know how to engage with other people. It's a win for you because you get to be around this pleasant child. And it's a win for the child because they get equipped with the skills to be able to function in the world. So do you understand that your relationship with your woman is this type of relationship? Because a lot of people, that you'll hear things like, yeah, you should lead. And like, she likes it when you take control. And your woman might even say that, like, I like it when you take control, which AKA means be in the leadership position. But then men either aren't leading well or they're allowing their women to be crappy followers. So, what are some examples of being a crappy follower? If she's trying to undermine your authority, if she does subtle forms of this, it's kind of like when you're talking, roll her eyes at you, scoffs, like those signs of contempt, or she just doesn't take anything you say seriously. She doesn't follow your lead. She doesn't follow your directions of what you ask her to do. She's always complaining like, oh, but you never do this and you never do that. And like, oh, you're lucky to be with me. Like, that is not a functioning hierarchy. Your leadership has collapsed. And the consequence of that is usually a very dissatisfied woman. She's naggy. She's complaining, like never seems satisfied. And it's just terrible to be around a woman like that. I know because I have been in that situation before when I was like, oh, yeah, baby, like we're in this together, like equals. No, I'm very clear. And with my woman, where I'm like, hey, I'm going to lead in this relationship and you're going to follow. And this is what it looks like. And this is what we value in this relationship. Does that mean I never listen to her? Does that mean I never consider what she has to say? Of course not. I want this to be a win-win. When she's with me, it's like, wow, my life's a win. This guy knows how to give me great containment. I feel so safe and protected with him in my life. My life's exciting. We go on cool holidays. We do cool trips. Like, my life's a win while he's in the leadership position. But men need to hold that leadership position and make sure that you're holding your woman to an example of what it means to be a great follower. Because I'm dealing with a lot of guys recently on relationships, and these relationships are crumbling. The women are shouting at their men, swearing at their men, telling their men how they're not good enough. And I'm like, not only is the hierarchy broken down in terms of the leadership from the man's perspective, but it's almost like this. The woman is in the leadership position. She's barking orders at the man. The man is fearful of her. Imagine a parent being fearful of their child throwing a tantrum when it's time to go to bed. It's ridiculous. Imagine your boss being worried, like, oh, what's Jimmy going to say if I tell him he's got to work on this project? No, the balance is off, the hierarchy, the dynamic is off, and relationships falter. I'll say this, if you're in an egalitarian relationship where everything's equal and it's working out fantastically for you, amazing. Keep doing what you're doing. Don't listen to anything I say. But if you're in a relationship as a man, you're walking on the eggshells, you're scared to ruffle her feathers. Oh, what if I try to put down a boundary and ask her to not swear at me anymore? What if she starts freaking out? What if she starts getting emotional? Okay, the leadership and hierarchy has collapsed in your dynamic. Put your foot down, set strong, healthy, loving boundaries, and hold your woman to that standard no matter what. Because the alternative is usually just a shit show of destruction that doesn't serve anyone in the relationship. But understand that this isn't being the top is good and being at the bottom is bad. No, again, it should be win-win. I want to show you a quick clip. You have a football player, a soccer player for those guys in America. This guy's name was John Terry. He was an England captain, a real leader of men. Like, this isn't a guy you wouldn't want to mess with. And you should hear him how he speaks about his favorite coach, a guy he respected. You can see him brilliantly occupying the leadership position to lead his men, to lead his team. They went on to achieve amazing things. But when he talks about his coach, it's almost like a healthy respect, even a healthy, dare I say the word, a healthy fear of his leader. Not in a, oh my gosh, he's abusive. Like, is he going to shout at me? But like, no, when the boss talks, I listen. Let's watch this clip together so you can guys see an example of this.
We went to LA the first pre-season with Mourinho. Training sessions, real chance to obviously impress, which we were all kind of petrified after the press conference.
Petrified?
Yeah, petrified, yeah.
Why?
We were ourselves. We were in kind of phoning each other. Like, we didn't know what to expect. We've been with Claudio before that, was very kind of calm, and it was quite intimidating listening to him, how confident he was and all of that. Yeah. He FaceTimed me the other night, Mourinho. The phone starts ringing. And I'm there, and I'm puffing the pillows, and my wife said to me, what are you doing? I said, the gaffer's calling a guy. I'm myself. And I still, to this day, he makes me so nervous. I would have done absolutely everything for this man, everything. I just have so much respect for what he done for me individually and for us as a team. Like, I absolutely adore him.
Did you challenge him?
No, never.
Never?
Never.
Did you ever think he was wrong?
No.
You thought he was right all the time?
Yeah, I did, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. Genuinely, I did, yeah.
Listen to some of the words he describes his coach. He's like, I was petrified of him. I was shitting myself. We were all scared. We were intimidated. But that is from a place of like, this guy made my life a lot better. You know, he said, I had so much respect for him because of the player in his playing career, who he made him become, the achievements, what they would win had never ever been done in the club before. But it wasn't like this, buddy, yeah, we're all equals. You say, yours say, okay, well, what do you think? Well, I'm challenging you on this stuff. And men today have lost the art of followership. Like everyone wants to be the leader, and like, they think leadership is like good and cool, and like followership is like lame and you're like a loser. That's not what it is at all. You should be able to brilliantly occupy the leadership position, especially helpful in your relationship. But there might be an area in your work or in whatever you do where it's like, cool, you got to be a great follower as well. This, you have to take ego out the equation, because the ego, this is where hierarchies fail, because the person in the top's like, this is what women are so terrified of. They're like, I've been in this relationship where you just got to walk around and pick up a man's underpants and laundry, and this is not what I want to be a part of. You know, they think leadership is like the guy sitting on the couch, like drinking a beer, watching football, and like, hey, get me another beer. Like, that is not leadership. That is not a win-win hierarchy, and you should exit relationships that look like that. But if you're going to choose to be in a relationship, especially as men, like, make sure your woman is gracious. Make sure she treats you with respect. There's no cussing, no swear words, no this kind of venom in her voice. You as the man need to lay down those terms and hold her to a higher standard. It's extremely critical. That's just what I think. What do you think of relationships? Do you think they're not hierarchical? Do you think it's just a free-for-all and everyone's thing matters the most as anyone else? I want to hear your thoughts and the comments down below, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.